What is the new FICO 10 model and the FICO 10T model? What are some of the things that you need to know when it comes to these scoring models? How will it affect your personal credit? What are some of the things that the creditors will look into when it comes to underwriting your profile? These are some of the questions that I've been getting. These are some of the things that I've been seeing on the internet, and I'd like to give you my 2 cents on the new FICO models that are going to be released by the end of 2020. Let's get started. So the FICO score hasn't been touched since the year 2014. It's been the new development until that point this time around, and they're actually working on improving some of the metrics on how they underwrite. The biggest thing they're going to look at and consider is the late payments and the debt that you're carrying. And that's why it's important that you pay attention to this. Because the way you structure your file, the way you maintain your credit cards, the debts, the balances, as well as some of the late payments in the past 24 months will definitely impact the way the FICO score is going to be looking at you as a profile. So with that said, let's look at the FICO 10T model. All right, for the first time, they're looking at trended data. And what that simply means is the past 24 months on your credit profile, how do you perform? What are some of the things that they look at when it comes to underwriting risk? You know, I always talk about bankable relationships. Well, now they're actually considering it hard when it comes to scoring with the new FICO 10T model. Here are some of the things that you need to pay attention to. So when it comes to trended data, they do an analysis over a 24-month period. And the way it is what are some of the balances during peak times that you were carrying? What are some of the ways that you were at all-time high when it comes to utilization? What are some of the trends in terms of close to maxing out your situation in terms of the debt that you're carrying? So these are very common trends with the FICO 10T. These are trends that they have to look at when it comes to underwriting. And of course, there's additional information such as paying your entire credit card balances at the end of the month. And the reason why this model looks at that is because those who pay their balances completely by the end of the month are considered lower risk customers, which is funny because at the end of the day, that's how they do business, right? They want to make sure that you're carrying these large balances so that they can basically make the interest income on you and carry forward with their business. Now, the 10T model does give emphasis on making sure that when you pay your balances completely by the end of the month, you're at a lower risk tier. But also at the same time, it gives the advantage to you as a consumer to be able to go out and leverage and increase those credit lines over time. As usual, financial education is critical on this point. Let's continue. Going under the late payment category, previously we know that late payments definitely affect the way your credit score is ranked, right? So here's the problem. With the new FICO 10 model, your late payments are going to have more of an impact on your credit score negatively, right? The impact is going to be a lot more severe than those previous FICO models that were used to determine your risk. So we have to be careful with that. So the trick here is to make sure that you pay your balances on time. If you can't pay your balances, respect the minimum payments on time. We know that you have a statement date. Look at your credit card statement, look at their statement date, and try to schedule out a payment that you know you're comfortable making. Another thing to note is that when you're about to miss a payment, when you know your statement date is not going to be respected, I need you to pick up the phone and call your creditor to give yourself an extension. Let them know, because what happens is they can actually put a note on your file and prevent that late payment notice. That's very critical. Not a lot of people teach you that, but I want you to understand the importance of the new scoring model and how it impacts drastically your score when it comes to late payments. The next topic. Utilization. We all know the importance of utilization, how critical it is when it comes to your FICO scoring model. Now, with the new late payment trends, utilization and the debt that you're carrying is also a very critical part of the scoring model. Just look at it the similar traditional way of scoring, right? It's not far off. The original FICO models and the trends and credit scores are not far off with the new models. It's just that there's more emphasis on late payments, the overall 24-month trends, and of course the utilization that you have. The best way is to keep your utilization below 30%. We all talk about this. There's a lot of people say keep it below 10 to 15%, but let's be realistic. We have to make sure that you survive and be able to sustain those debts, because if you pay all your balances down on a huge lump sum and then you don't have ways to respect your minimum payments in the next few months, it's going to be difficult. So you really have to do some accounting and budgeting the right way so that you're effective ensuring and you're maintaining those minimum payments as well as the balances and the utilization. There's a lot more emphasis on utilization of the debt that you're carrying now with the new FICO 10 and 10T. Let's move on to the next topic. Personal or debt consolidation loans. Those are another point that you need to pay attention to. When it comes to the new FICO scoring model, that's considered a risk, right? So there's signature loans which are unsecured. You can borrow based on the signature and your credit score. What happens mostly is when you borrow that kind of consolidation loan, the objective is to pay down your existing debt, right? The problem is that actually looks at from the FICO model as a risky factor. However, if you maintain your balances the proper way, use a consolidation loan to lower your utilization and continue borrowing and leveraging those credit scenarios, it can actually help because you're maintaining ongoing positive credit activity. Those are the keywords I want you to pay attention to. Now, with personal loans, when it comes to borrowing on a signature and ensuring that you're personally guaranteeing, be sure that the debt that you're getting doesn't surpass the overall debt that you have out there. I know it doesn't make any sense because the objective of those personal debt consolidation loans are to pay down your credit cards. But here it is. If you maintain your credit balances below, like I said, the 30%, let's say even 40%, your consolidation loan shouldn't add more than the sum of all those percentages added as a final amount to pay down your debts. So you can actually create a balance that's really nice and help you maintain that credit structure and the infrastructure on the new FICO model. Let's continue. Now, how will it affect those people who already have decent and good credit scores? Well, if you already have a good credit score, that means the FICO 10 model will amplify the scores that you already have. That means you're maintaining your balances, you're not late, there's not a lot of inquiries, you always pay your bills on time, you don't have any negatives. Well, the new FICO 10 model will now boost that, enhance it even more because they're giving more emphasis on good payees and making sure that your balance is low. Now, unfortunately, if you have a lower credit score, that means you're going to have rank even lower. That means the already existing habits that you have with the new scoring model, what's going to happen is it's going to impact it even more negatively, which is not a good thing, right? So you can start building some of the financial habits, start maintaining some of the things that I warned you about before that new scores and model starts to kick in by the end of 2020. So what's the bottom line, right? What's the bottom line? The bottom line here is, guys, you have to maintain your credit. You have to make sure that you're paying your bills on time. You have to make sure you respect your minimums, right? At the very least. There's a lot of trends that are happening in terms of consumer behaviors, all these holiday shopping sprees and the Black Fridays and all that good stuff. I mean, that's very good, right? You find discounts, you find amazing deals. I get excited about these type of things. Heck, I buy camera gear or whatever equipment I can find. But we have to be very responsible because at the end of the day, the new model is going to definitely affect you. It's either going to affect you in a positive way or a negative way. So you still have a little bit of time before you can adjust to that new model. That means you can start maintaining your balances. You can start paying down some of the big debts that you carry. Even if it's a small amount towards the balance, it'll help with the utilization, right? Call the creditors that you have decent relationships with and try to increase those utilization ratios by getting a bump in terms of credit. You don't have to go through a hard inquiry. Sometimes they have promotional offers that can help you. The goal is try to get yourself a higher score. The goal is try to improve your financial strategy and your habits to be able to adapt to the new FICO model so that you can benefit. So I hope you understood the importance of the new model. How are you going to be scored? What are some of the implementations and impact that it'll have on your personal FICO score? What are the steps to avoid the dangers of the pitfall in terms of dropping your score? And if you already have decent credit, we'll maintain that and it's going to actually amplify your score on a positive level. Again, I hope this video helped. I hope you took this lesson to heart. I hope I armed you with the right knowledge to be able to help yourself. This is Ali Taraftar, your guide and mentor. If you're new to this channel, you haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe, turn that bell icon on. So every time there's a video like this or anything new in the industry, you'll be first to be notified. And with that said, this is your guide and mentor, Ali Taraftar. Bye for now.